All right, welcome back to the channel. We're up to week 2 content for college football, going into Tulane's second week of the regular season after their dominating win against the University of Northwestern 23-3 last week, where their defense had a combination of 5 turnovers, including 4 interceptions of Preston Stone, and another fumble on a sack that he had. Now, going into this week, they have a matchup against the University of South Alabama, who just came off a 38-21 win against Morgan State, so a Division II opponent. And a couple takeaways for South Alabama as a team. Their starting quarterback, 12 for 14, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns in last week's game. But more of their production ended up being through the running game, where it was Kentrell Bullock, 23 carries, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns, and backup running back PJ Martin, 8 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown. Overall, as a team against Morgan State, South Alabama had 367 yards for the game and forced 4 turnovers for the Morgan State Bears, including 3 fumbles and a pick. Now, South Alabama as a whole are having to replace a good portion of their starting offensive last year. They have to replace starting quarterback Gio Lopez, who had 2,500 yards last year with 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He transferred to the University of North Carolina with their utter disaster of a first game of the season against TCU, where they lost 42-14 in Bill Belichick's college debut. They also lose Fluff Bothwell. Bothwell led the team last year in rushing yards with 832 yards rushing on 7.5 yards a carry with 13 touchdowns. Coincidentally, was only 1 yard more than Bullock had last year on the team. Also transferring to Mississippi State, ended up having 2 touchdowns in his first game with them. Also including their top 2 wide receivers in Jamal Pritchard, who went to the NFL as a free agent for the Jets, who had over 1,000 yards last year, and also Jeremiah Webb going into the NFL as well. So their top returning receivers is Dylan Voisin. Voisin led the team last year with 34 receptions, just over 400 yards receiving, and also ended up leading the team in the South Alabama game against Morgan State with 69 yards on 7 receptions and a touchdown. South Alabama was able to get 3 sacks and 10 tackles for loss against the Morgan State Bears off of it, so it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for Retzlaff to be able to commandeer this offense and not let the pass rush be able to affect any of his throws like it did in the last week's game against Northwestern. While the Tulane defense in general was dominant, that's not something that 5 interceptions is going to be very sustainable to get on a weekly basis on it. With Retzlaff in itself, he was only 18 for 31 in the game. Once he was getting some pressure up the middle in his pass rush, he had a tendency of throwing high towards the receivers, and the only one receiver he was able to consistently get on track with was the transfer Omari Hayes. Hopefully in this game he'll be able to get more targets on with receivers like Washington State transfer Trey Shackelford or Shaz Preston or Zach Carl Lewis or Oliver Mitchell, the freshman, or Bryce Bohannon, amongst any of the others. And if there's going to be any sort of sighting for quarterback turned tight end Ty Thompson, who I didn't see on the field or the sidelines at any point for the Northwestern game. And if this thing gets out of hand, if we'll get more of Brendan Sullivan action, or if it's Caden Samanza as well. But this is going to be the only non-conference game in Tulane's schedule this season that is not going to be against a Power 4 opponent. So hopefully it's one they're able to kind of comfortably take control of and be able to get a multitude of players. There are 34 transfers that they brought in to help and keep themselves healthy and ready for their Duke matchup at home next week. But Tulane is a 10.5 point favorite against South Alabama on the road. They are expected to win this game, but it's not one that's expected to be a blowout. Whenever there's a first road game with such a large portion of the roster being new faces, there is still going to be some hiccups, even though between the first week and the second week is supposed to be the biggest improvement for teams in general. That does end up working both ways. It'll be the only matchup that's not a Power 4 opponent for Tulane that's also a non-conference game. But thank y'all for watching on this. More Tulane content will be coming in the future, more reaction for this game. I'm currently in Texas. But yeah, thank y'all for watching. Please like and subscribe on this if you enjoyed this content. Please leave a comment down below on anything if you want to get more information on this as well. And yeah, more Louisiana content coming in soon. And I will be at the University of Texas for their game against San Jose State tomorrow. Hopefully, I don't get burned this time. All right, and I'm out.